Okay guys, so today we'll be taking a look at the new Shooter Looter, which is both aesthetically beautiful as much as it's addicting. Today we'll be talking about Anthem and whether it's good or bad, or maybe a little bit of both. If you're new, I'm Sons of the Abyss Gaming. Welcome to the channel.
I got broads in Atlanta, just to lean in the family, credit cards in the scammers, hitting the licks in the van, legacies.
So first off, I want to start off by saying I've been waiting to play this game ever since it was announced at E3, and like most, I was a little bit worried as much as I was excited. With given how EA has been lately, you can't really blame me. But the question is it actually good, or was I right to be worried? Well, let's find out. Let's talk about the graphics. It's no surprise the graphics are good, but they are much better than I had originally thought based on the first gameplay trailers. From the beautiful landscapes to the perfectly animated javelin suits, everything in this game is eye candy. The effects and particle system is amazing. The environments, the enemies, everything has detail. Even the city you call home is very good looking. The one thing I wanted to see but haven't really gotten the chance yet is the big tornado and extreme weather system that you saw from that first gameplay trailer, which I really do hope it ends up being in the final game. Otherwise I will be a little disappointed. But overall, I could be happier on the graphics side of this game. The weapons, the gunfire, as well as the elemental effects look fantastic. The flying is extremely satisfying, which, speaking of flying, let's go ahead and take a second and talk about how badass you feel flying through the air with your javelins, which at times seem like very versatile tanks. The flying feels great. The controls, however, do take a moment to get used to, but they actually work much better than you would first believe. But we will talk much about that later. So yes, overall the graphics are simply insane, and I'm not at all disappointed. With that out of the way though, let's go ahead and talk about the javelins I've played with so far. Alright guys, first off, the mech suits in this game are referred to as javelins. Now these are basically your classes for the game, and there are 4 types. There's the Interceptor, the Ranger, the Colossus, and the Storm. Now I myself have only gotten a chance to play with 2 of them so far, so I can't really go into too much detail about the Storm. But that is your mage class, or the Interceptor, which is your melee assassin type of build. But I will have videos out soon to discuss all 4 of them in greater detail. Until then though, let's go ahead and talk about the Ranger class. This is the all-around class that's perfect for beginners, which at this point, I guess we are all beginners. All classes have a special ability. Now the Ranger's class's ability is pretty cool. It's basically a missile launcher that hones in on the enemies you selected. It's much more badass than it simply sounds though. He also has the ability to dodge using his jets. He's a very versatile character and was quite fun to use. But that's all I'm really going to say about him in this video because I want to save it for my other video. Let's go ahead and talk about the Bullet Sponge Death Machine, the Colossus. The Colossus is simply a beast. That's all that I need to say about this guy. I'm out of here. I'm going to go back to playing the game. See you guys later. I'm just kidding. Seriously, this guy is so fun to play with, and it's easily my favorite so far. His special ability is basically the ability to shoot 3 big-ass mini nukes out of his back. It is so satisfying. Also, instead of dodging, he uses a shield instead, which can be used when you're flying too. And you can also do a charge attack while sprinting with the shield out. Now this shield soaks up damage, but it is somewhat limited because there's a blue bar at top. And when that blue bar goes down while you're taking damage and it goes all the way down, your shield will go up for a short amount of time while it charges. And you'd have to wait. But that's not a big deal because he is a badass. Now he does have the highest amount of health, which puts him as the tank class for the game. Like I said, at the moment he is my favorite to use so far. And I will have a better guide coming out pretty soon about all these classes, so keep an eye out for that. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see all that Anthem, and plus all the new games coming out. I'm going to have all kinds of content coming soon. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about something a little bit more important, a little bit more satisfying than the classes, the combat. Combat in this game is so fun. Every class truly does feel unique. You have the choice of taking 3 different gadget-like items with you. Now these basically are efficiently abilities, and you find more of these through enemy and boss loot. And from what I could tell, there is a good amount of them, at least I hope so. Now all these gadgets are class specific, meaning you can only use it if you're that specific class. These are so cool though, and it adds a good little piece of gameplay to the game. And it's actually adds a pretty good choice of when you're picking your gear. It gives you another thing to pick to bring with you, so it gives a little bit more strategy to what you're choosing. Now besides that, you have flying, which takes a big role in combat. It's a very good and efficient way to dodge attacks. You can also just hover in the air too, but this is limited. you have what you call a heat gauge for your jetpack. If it starts to overheat, you have to stop flying and let it cool down. But a nice little detail they added is that you can actually cool it down if you're closer to water. And it cools down quite a bit faster. And you can actually hover there for a significant more amount of time. And this is a really cool touch and interesting mechanic. Now, every class has its own special evasion ability, I guess you could say. For instance, I touched on how the Ranger class can dodge. This is exactly what I was talking about. The class's evasion ability is to pull out his shield. The Storm can actually do it like a teleport type of dodge, and the Interceptor can dodge 3 times in a row with his jetpacks. Now, this adds a good amount to the gameplay, but also the classes have a melee attack too, and it's all unique per class. So combat altogether is very fluid and feels really good. If you've played the Mass Effect series, it's very familiar, but much better. Now with combat out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about something that is vital for this type of game, the progression. Now I can't say too much about the progression because, well, I simply haven't experienced too much about leveling. Since this is a demo, you're only able to play from level 10 to 15, which sucks, so I can only talk about the gear progression and what I think about it. As far as weapons go, there's a good variety, and I'm sure I've barely scratched the surface. I want to see what some of the legendary guns look like. I haven't had the chance yet. I don't think they're in the demo, so I really want to see if the legendary guns actually have some unique properties. Now, you got the weapons and these utilities from the drops, from your bosses, from the regular enemies, and just chests that appear in the strongholds, which is this game's form of dungeons, I guess. Now, I will have a video covering my top 10 weapon drops, so look out for that. Now, you also have these challenges that you can complete through quests and just doing things in general. Now, these award coins, that is the currency to use to buy cosmetics, at least as far as I'm aware. There might be some other uses too. Now, there also may be some other rewards, so I just haven't really had the ability to dive too deep into this game, since this is a very restrictive as far as demos goes, which I will touch on in a bit. Now, from what I've seen, the progression seems good, but my opinions may change at the release on February 22nd. Okay, so there is a very good amount of good in this game, but what about the bad? Well, let's get right into that. Remember, this is a demo, so things may change. But the first issue I ran into was a pretty common and frustrating problem for everyone, the infinite loading screen. This damn thing was ridiculous. Every time I want to start a mission, the first loading screen always, and I mean always, freezes up for me. And the only thing to fix this is to exit and restart the game. What kind of fix is this? This is hard to forgive, and it's not the only problem. There was also a good amount of bugs. For instance, this one bug, many times the enemies would just disappear. Gone, poof, like they were never there. This isn't a huge deal, I guess, but it did take you out of the moment. Another big beef I have, though, with this demo is the length. It is so freaking short, with only 5 missions you can go on, not counting the free play mode. Now, this usually wouldn't be a big deal, but this has me worried about the amount of content that will actually be in the game at release, but we'll just have to wait and see. Okay, I want to take a moment to discuss the customization really quick. This part of the game is awesome. Not only can you change the color and shade of your javelin suit, but you can also change the material style of every piece of armor. All this doesn't even include the different paint jobs and patterns you can set, as well as emotes. The customization in this game is great. But this brings me to the biggest worry, microtransactions. Now, microtransactions will 100% be in the game. The question is, will they do it right? See, if done properly, microtransactions can actually make a game slightly more engaging. I know, don't kill me. It can add a different currency to earn for cooler looking items, and as long as it's easy to earn this currency without having to pay a buttload of real money or any at all, then this honestly isn't a problem. But this is an EA title. And with previous titles, the microtransactions robbed you. Battlefront 2, FIFA, it was handled very poorly. So I sincerely hope they don't do this to Anthem. If they do, I'm afraid it will ruin this game, but we will just have to wait and see. So overall, I was really impressed by the gameplay, the movement, the customization, the combat, and just the look of the game altogether. But I'm extremely worried about the loading screens, the bugs, the amount of content, and the heavy amount of microtransactions that we're all sure they'll add. Now altogether, I am very excited to keep playing Anthem, and I look forward to the future it may hold. Now there's many things I've yet to talk about, and that stuff will be coming in future videos, including a top 10 weapons I've found, a class guide, a combat guide, and tips in general, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see all that content. I'll also be covering Jump Force's beta, Resident Evil 2, and more to be announced in the future. I want to take a second and thank you guys for watching. It means the world to me. I am so close to hitting that 100 subs, and I'm planning to hit 1,000 after that. So thank you guys for joining me and being a part of my growth. It truly does mean a lot. But anyways, I'm Sons of the Abyss Gaming, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm out of here.
I got broads in Atlanta, just to lean the family. Credit cards in the scammers, hitting the licks in the van. Legacies.